the minute we met, he saw this wholesome, all-American girl, and I fit the role.
From the outside looking in, Sandra Theodore's life with Hugh Hefner was a fairy tale. Glamour, parties, with a real-life Prince Charming.
He had all the trappings. He had charm. He was such a charming man.
Before the fairy tale was dashed, describe the trappings. What did the fairy tale consist of?
Well, first of all, there was the castle. He showed me romantic movies, and he played the part. And I was wrapped up in the fact that he told me that we were have children and we'd be together forever. And I believed him.
But behind the gates, inside the Playboy mansion, Sandra says she felt imprisoned in a cycle of emotional abuse, manipulation, and drugs.
As the years went on, little things started scaring me about him, like, how could he be like this? How could I love a man like this?
Hugh Hefner opened the door for the sexual revolution, I will agree.
He represents, for this woman here, freedom. But Playboy has its dark side.
There was a secret world. Playboy was all about powerful men preying on beautiful young women.
Sandra's story and that of many other former Playmates and Bunnies, colleagues and friends, part of a new docu-series from A&E, Secrets of Playboy, re-examining the controversial legacy of Hugh Hefner, who died in 2017.
I really wasn't aware of the bigger allegations that are in this series when I began my research. I was really just wanting to ask the women of Playboy to talk to me about their experiences in a really open, honest way. When you talk about the legacy of Playboy, it's really mixed. And I wanted to be very honest about that, because Playboy was a progressive beacon from the 50s onwards.
At that point in time, I wasn't interested in marriage, but I was interested in Playboy enterprises because women were taking their power. They were in command of themselves. So I thought, well, wow.
Playboy changed the world. It opened up the sexual revolution to be talked about, and it brought women to the forefront to explore that sexuality.
Jonathan Baker, a Hollywood director and longtime friend of Hefner, is also featured in the series.
Because of the platform that was opened up to the world, women had more opportunity.
My bunny name was Bunny Jackie, and I started working at Playboy in 1967 for 11 and a half years. We definitely got paid well, and I bought a car and I lived the way I wanted to.
Playboy was the place where a lot of people of color got great opportunities on television, in the magazine, in the clubs that were not being offered anywhere else. I didn't want to gloss over that. And I also wanted to notice how possible it is that there can be an entity that is this great progressive beacon that's also covering up a lot of darkness. Sandra Theodore is the interview that changed everything for me. And she's the reason that we will completely reframe how we see Hefner in Playboy.
Theodore and Hefner dated for 5 years. She was a playmate and centerfold, but she says as the years went on, the control became overwhelming.
I was followed in the beginning and later. I could not be out having an evening for myself. I didn't have my own money. He kept me away from other people. When we would go out together, we were treated like royalty. So that kept me thinking, okay, well, if everyone thinks he's so wonderful, then it must be me.
Life with Hefner, she says, pushed to a breaking point.
The drugs fueled how many people you could get in your bed. And then all of a sudden there's 3 of us. And 3 girls became 5. And it got ridiculous up there. He twisted my mind so much that if I loved him, that proved how much I loved him.
And so what do you think about what was happening back then? There was so much drugs. Were the women always able to give consent?
No. And even when they didn't, some things continued.
You also describe him as being a voyeur, and there were times when other men were brought into the situation. Did you, in your mind, give consent to having sex with those other men?
No, I hated it. I never wanted any of that.
There was no coercion. There were no one was feeding these girls drugs Yeah, in the 70s, there were Quaaludes. They were there, but they weren't being forced down people's throats. Were there orgies? Yes, there were. Everybody participated. I was very conservative. I didn't participate in those acts.
When you talk about Playboy, we all kind of enjoyed that fact in a tongue-in-cheek way that, you know, what happens at the mansion stays at the mansion, like Vegas. There's an aspect of consent. And I kept struggling with that as I was reporting this. Where is the abuse if you've consented? Where does the line begin? When you start to talk about someone like Hef, and he's slowly bringing the women in around him into these extreme sexual acts, you realize that it's not about consent anymore, because there's all this grooming going on, making them feel like the more extreme acts are normal and that that's something expected of them.
Hefner was a force throughout his life, continuing to push the norms of sexual liberation and free expression. In 2010, Hefner spoke with my colleague John Donvan to discuss the iconic brand.
Playboy products, that rabbit, that trademark, is famous everywhere. Maybe other people are looking back a little bit too. Maybe they want a little piece of the world that they missed.
You're saying there's a bit of a nostalgia. And what was there then that's not here now?
A little more style, a little more class, a little more romantic connection.
And even as he aged, a near constant stream of women who didn't, on display in the breakout series, The Girls Next Door. One of those stars, Holly Madison.
As a girlfriend, I'm extremely devoted. I love you.
I love you, darling.
Like Sandra, 3 decades before her, describes a controlling and traumatic life inside the mansion.
Another thing that reminds me of a cult is how it was so easy to get isolated from the outside world there. You had a 9 o'clock curfew. You were encouraged to not have friends over. You weren't really allowed to leave unless it was like a family holiday.
Was Holly feeling the things that she was feeling? Yes, but that's not Hef's fault. I mean, the rules are what they are, right? Yes, there was a curfew. And yes, the girls had to be in early, but Hef was a jealous guy.
By breaking their silence, these former playmates shedding new light on the complicated founder of an empire built on a fantasy.
I want young girls to know it's not good. It's not good. Stand your ground and respect yourself, and don't let anyone tell you if you love me, you will, you know, because if they love you, they will not ask this of you.
Secrets of Playboy airs Monday at 9 p.m. on A&E.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.